So I think my game capture is set for any full screen application. Capture any full screen application. So yeah, let's get into this. Yeah, I was waiting to stream this for when it went 1.0, and now that it's 1.0, I'll probably just do the whole Half-Life series. Hotfix 1.1's already out. That's good. It just came out, actually. I got me a blue moon right here. SND_restart. I gotta do that because I'm running some mods. Nothing crazy or game-changing. Just some aesthetic edits for the guns because I don't like the base game's guns all that much. I think they're a little wimpy. They're a little watery. So I have what was it? IIOPN's animation rework packs and some particle effect thing. I forget what it is. And Monica's better sound pack. So anyways, we're going to start a new game. Volume is good for now. Maybe try to turn this up to 30. Let's try 25. Source games always have weird volume controls. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. So I've played the rest of the game. I just haven't done Zen because Zen didn't come out before 1.0. It just came out. So yeah, sorry, I just put my headset up for a second. So I was also waiting to get my new headset, and well, I've had my new headset, but I was waiting to get an adapter for it.
Welcome to the Black Mesa transit system. This automated train is provided for the security and convenience of the Black Mesa Research Facility personnel. The time is 8:47 a.m. Current topside temperature is 93 degrees, with an estimated high of 105. The Black Mesa compound is maintained at a pleasant 68 degrees at all times.
I wanted to let that play out. This game has really good music. Joel Nielsen really composed some bangers.
This train is inbound from Level 3 dormitories to Sector C test labs and control facilities. If your intended destination is a high-security area beyond Sector C, you will need to return to the Central Transit Hub in Area 9.
The funny game? Please explain.
Board a high-security train.
Why is it the funny game?
If you have not yet submitted your identity to the retinal clearance system, you must report to Black Mesa personnel for processing before you will be permitted into the high-security branch of the transit system.
I mean, I will admit, like, Half-Life as a whole has some pretty hilarious moments, but please explain.
Due to the high toxicity
okay.
of material routinely handled in the Black Mesa compound,
Funny pizza pasta.
no smoking, eating, or drinking are permitted within the Black Mesa transit system.
The funny tram car. There he is. It's our boy, Joel Nielsen. I think definitely people who are big fans of the Half-Life series will have a lot of praises to say about this game.
Please keep your limbs inside the train
I myself, as a longtime Half-Life fan, was very much looking forward to this game. I don't believe in hype culture. I think it's just a really, really good remake of Half-Life 1. But it's definitely not Jesus 2. I mean, I wouldn't say that about any game, really.
If it is necessary to exit the train, disabled personnel should be evacuated first. Please stay away from electrified rails and proceed to an emergency station until assistance arrives.
A Hind D? What's a Russian gunship doing here? That's actually not a Hind D, that's an Apache. But, Animal Crossing new... Yeah, I mean, you know, get Animal Crossing. For sure, for sure. This game, I think, is only $20, so next time you got, like, 20 quid to blow, I think it's a very worthy purchase for a solid 10 to 12 hour first-person shooter campaign. Very good game. I mean, if you're a classic Half-Life fan, this game is basically a given. Like, you just kind of gotta get it. Well, because it's like it's just a really good HD remake of Half-Life 1. So if you want all the Half-Life games on HL2 Source, you know, this is your ticket. Except not really, because Blutshit and Opposing Force aren't on Source on HL2 Source yet. But if I remember correctly. There is a team working on Opposing Force for
A reminder that the Black Mesa Hazard
yeah, opposing Force for HL2 Source.
This evening at 1900 hours in the level 3 facility. The semifinals
You made it to Zen and then forgot.
will be announced in a
Nice.
separate secure broadcast transmission. Remember, more lives than yours may depend on your
I mean, that's kind of just how every Half-Life 1 fan feels. Not even gonna lie, Zen is easily the most undercooked and forgettable part about the game. That's why this game took so long, because the Black Mesa devs basically were like, all right, we're not gonna do Valve Zen. We're gonna make our own version of Zen that is better.
Do you have a friend or relative who would make a valuable addition to the Black Mesa team? Immediate openings are available in the areas of materials handling and low clearance security. Please contact Black Mesa.
Well, if you want to watch my streams, I'll do HL2 after this game.
Have an associate with a background in the area
HL2 is easily, like, in my top 5 games of all time. I am so romantic about these games.
high-tech disciplines. Please contact our civilian recruiting team. The Black Mesa facility is an equal opportunity employer.
Just, like, the aesthetic and world building and characters. I'm just so in love with these games. Especially HL2. Like, I know people who played Half-Life 1 have a lot more nostalgic memories for Half-Life 1, this game. But for me, I played Half-Life 2 first, so I'm more nostalgic for that one first of all. But second of all, even if I wasn't, I would kind of think Half-Life 2 personally for me is the better game, just because it appeals to
Reminder to all Black Mesa
me on a much more sentimental level because of how that game paces its narrative as opposed to this one.
of continued employment in the Black Mesa Research Facility. Missing a scheduled urinalysis or radiation checkup is grounds for immediate termination. If you feel you have been
Oh yeah, Half-Life is a very immersive experience kind of game. It's a seamless first-person story, so that's perfect VR material
immediately.
because there are no cutscenes.
Safe. Work smart. Your future depends on it.
Uh-oh, somebody's getting fired today.
Now arriving at
Uh-oh, I'm stuck.
test lab. Control
Oh, Source Engine. But
Please stand back from the automated door and wait for the security officer to verify.
by the way, when I
your
breathe
identity.
out like this, like,
Before exiting the train,
does my mic pop at all? I have a pop filter. I want to see how well it's working.
thank you, and have a very safe and productive day.
Morning, Mr. Freeman. Looks like you're running late.
That's very good. So now I can like breathe on my mic without worrying about it like causing air noises.
Well, Barney's been pretty scarce around these parts. Guess his bar tab must have finally caught up with.
I forget if they actually got the Barney and G-Man voice actor, or if they got someone really convincing, but I'm pretty sure they actually got Mike Shapiro to play the character. Like, they actually hired Mike Shapiro.
Aw, man, you cut the ponytail. Sellout.
Never.
Hey, Mr. Freeman. I had a bunch of messages for you, but we had a system crash about, I don't know,
Hunt down the
20 minutes
refund.
ago, and I'm still trying to find my files. Just one of those days, I guess. They were also having some problems down in the test chamber, too, but I think that's all straightened out. They told me to make sure you headed down there as soon as you got into your hazard suit.
So if you're a dick, you can push that button under the desk.
Wilson, please call observation.
No, yeah, never. Like, that's just my completely honest. Even though I know it's a joke, my straight answer to that joke is never.
I'm not one for idle chatter, Gordon.
Also, it's not just a mod. It is a fully fledged source game that is sold on Steam for actual money. Lest you forget that Valve cares so little about their IP. If Valve cared anymore, they would... I mean, they kind of do now that the HLA is out, but if they really, really, really cared, they would remove it from the Steam store. Anyways, so, yeah, if you're a jerk, you can push that button and make this guy's... make the security guard's life hell for the morning. Well, hell in comparison to a normal day.
Dr. Freeman,
His day's about to turn into a lot more of a hell.
system seems to be online now. Those TPS reports have gotten progressively worse. Hard to find good help these days. Yes, about that. We're going to need you to come in this weekend. What? I've already made plans. Oh, don't worry. You can always attend the next convention.
Doctor, Ben Truman, please place secure line call.
Oh, I mean, this game also started as a mod. I think most...
Look at that. Freeman actually did show up for work this morning. Looks like somebody here owes me lunch.
Good morning, Freeman. Shut up.
I love how much personality there is in the beginning of this, because you can tell that Gordon, while a bit of a troubled or unruly worker, is still a valued part of their team. People like him. You know, he's got friends in the office. It's very charming to the beginning of the game. And yeah, it started as a mod, but so did this game. I mean, it basically was a source mod that got greenlit. I couldn't even imagine meeting the dev team of Hunt Down the Freeman. Or are you talking about the development of this game? Because the development of Hunt Down the Freeman is also fascinatingly stupid. Ah, okay. That's cool. He met Crowbar Collective? That's pretty nice. His friend sounds like an absolute Half-Life superfan. Very happy for him. Hi. Bye.
You forgot to carry the 2. Or was it the 3?
I hate calculus. I'm a statistician at heart.
I don't know about that, Dr. Truman. Seems to me that he's just spouting buzzwords in his research papers that he picked up from perusing popular scientific periodicals.
I've had a few professors like that before. They don't really feel like they're legit. They're just kind of just faked it to become a professor. I don't know.
You're living in the past. That That experiment is single-handedly responsible for inspiring my career in science.
How much recognition do you think you're going to get for
And let me check my my mouse sensitivity. All right, full sensitivity.
You should focus on inventing something new and unique.
He does have a point.
Oh, but this is more than replication. I assure
Yeah,
you.
that multiple people were responsible for that, for sure.
Our field has come since the original study was published, and to say nothing
I mean, the
of
weirdest part about
technical
meeting the
knowledge
I mean, Hunt Down the Freeman in general.
I mean, combined with today's technology, I've recreated.
Bah.
I can't.
Man, I'm gonna let
stand
this
the
dialogue play out.
malarkey.
Don't mind him. But here's something to think about for the next time.
You and your sugar-coated ersatz are absolutely full of it.
Creativity is the art of hiding your influence. Now let's get back to work. We should at least try to look busy.
So, if I had one question I would ever ask the dev team for Hunt Down the Freeman, it would be, why I Hate Everything, and why Keemstar, and why Pyrocynical? Why are you hiring YouTube stars? Why? Why?
Hello, Dr. Cross. Maybe later, Gordon.
Why? Yeah, it could probably just stop at why. Why any of this? Why? How could you do this?
Morning, champ.
Hello?
Ah, Dr. Magnuson's magnificent microwave casserole. Particle accelerators.
What the hell? You think you can fix the vending machine too, college boy?
We will never hear the end of this.
Yeah, you best make like an atom and split. 'Cause that was you-know-who's lunch.
This is a really nice reference to episode 2. Because everybody in the office kind of knows Magnuson's a dick.
Procedure coming along.
You better make like traffic and jam.
Believe you me, I won't be taking the blame for this one.
I can even forgive you for a certain microwave casserole back in Black Mesa.
Why do we all have to wear these ridiculous ties?
Classic line.
Triple pleated khakis. Preposterous. And these ludicrous penny loafers. Nobody here has an eye for fashion. Does this lab coat make me look fat?
Yes. Let me see how high I can turn my sensitivity up. I'm pretty sure... Will it still let me type in my own sensitivity? It will not.
Welcome to the HEV Mark IV protective system for use in hazardous environments.
I love that. It's got its own onboard hard drive, and it's booting from the hard drive.
Armor activated. Atmospheric contaminant sensors activated. Vital sign monitoring activated. Automatic medical systems engaged. Defensive weapon selection system activated. Mission level monitoring activated. Communications interface online. Have a very safe day.
Hello? Hello? Could somebody get me some toilet paper? Oh, thank heavens. I'm in dire need of some toilet paper.
Aren't we all?
Ah, I remember my days in the hazardous environment suit. Of course, at the time, it was Mark III. Mind you, the base color wasn't so loud, and the helmet wasn't optional, or ventilated. There wasn't an integrated waste disposal system either. Count your lucky stars. Have you ever seen those electromyographic sensors in the old biomechatronic Mark I? A marvel of modern engineering.
This is what I'm talking about. There's just so much, like, this world, this universe that they've built is just dripping with atmosphere. It's amazing. There's so much personality in the world.
Later, Gordon.
All right.
Go right on through, sir. Looks like you're in the barrel today.
Greetings, Dr. Freeman. Please excuse me, Gordon.
You just said hi. I was just seeing what's up, man. Oh, what's going down? What's shaking?
Did you catch that last fluctuation? It's nothing to worry about.
Ah! Stuck in the door.
We should harness the remaining photonic energy to ensure resonance control. Double-check the Brewster's plate's angles and make sure the superluminescent diodes are protected from optical feedback. Have you
What's up, Doc?
attenuated the displacement beacon signal? Absolutely not.
I'm rather busy now.
Hi, Freeman.
Hi. See, people are pleasant here.
Ah, Gordon, there you are.
Nice of you to finally join us, Doctor.
We've just sent the sample down to the test chamber.
We've boosted the anti-mass spectrometer to 105%. Bit of a gamble, but we needed the extra resolution.
The administrator is very concerned that we get a conclusive analysis of today's sample. I gather he went to some lengths to get it.
They're waiting for you, Gordon. In the test chamber.
Right. Come on then, I'll walk you down.
It's so great seeing a young Kleiner.
Eli has been busy making last-minute preparations for the new experiment. Greetings, Eli.
Morning, Izzy.
I trust this morning finds you well.
Gordon, good morning. I'm glad you're here. These last-minute changes, they're a bit strange to just... Oh! It's about to go critical.
What in the blazes is going on with our equipment?
It was never meant to do this in the first place.
It's nothing we can't handle ourselves, Eli. Run along, Gordon. We'll be but a moment.
Right. I remember in the beta versions of this game, like back when it was a source mod, this elevator could potentially kill you because of how it moved.
By Becquerel's ghost! The radiation level is off the charts. You know, this is far from glory. If this is anything less than a full-scale code red calamity, I'm not interested in Ørsted metal, and I find myself doing work best suited for an intern.
Please. You do very meaningful work here.
Really? Push that button, walk over here, push this one, stand and stare at the screen, walk back over there, push another button, again.
Come now, you're overreacting.
I don't know how much longer I can abide these perfunctory tasks. I need more time for myself.
Ha! Don't kid yourself. You wouldn't know what to do with free time if you even had any.
That tears it. I'm going to check the office upstairs and see how many vacation days I've accrued over the past 25 years. It's high time I took a break from all this.
Certainly. But before you do, activate the electron multiplier and report the reading from the micro channel plates.
Wouldn't it be fantastic to get some
Oh,
pure
there you are.
readings for a change?
Everybody's been looking for you, hombre.
Ah, here he is.
I'm afraid we'll be deviating a bit from standard analysis procedure today, Gordon.
Yes, but with good reason. This is a rare opportunity for us. This is the purest sample we've seen yet.
And potentially the most unstable.
Now, as long as we follow standard insertion procedures, everything will be fine.
I don't know how you do that. Although I will admit that the possibility of a resonance cascade scenario is extremely unlikely. I just don't feel...
Gordon doesn't need to hear all this. He's a highly trained professional. We've assured the administrator that nothing will go wrong.
Yes, you're right. Gordon, we have complete confidence in you.
Well, go ahead. Let's let him in now.
Testing. Testing. Everything seems to be in order.
All right, Gordon. Your suit should keep you comfortable through all this. The specimen...
I'm pretty sure that is him, actually.
Now, if you would be so good as to climb up and start the rotors, that way we can bring the anti-mass spectrometer to 80% and hold it there until the carrier arrives.
Yeah, like I'm actually pretty sure that's the same guy.
Very good. We'll take it from here.
Power to stage 1 emitters in 3, 2, 1. I'm seeing predictable phase arrays. Stage 2 emitters activating now.
Gordon, we cannot predict how long the system can operate at this level, nor how long the reading will take. Please, work as quickly as you can.
Overhead capacitors to 105%. It's probably not a problem. Probably. But I'm showing a small discrepancy in...
All the signs were here that this should not have happened.
Sustaining sequence.
Like all the signs were here that this test should have been called off.
It should be coming up to you at any moment. Look to the delivery system for your specimen. Standard insertion for non-standard specimen. Get away from the radio! Oh my God! Shut it down!
Shutting down!
Someone get him out of there and shut it down!
It's not shutting down!
Oh God!
Is this still standard procedure? Hello? They're part of anomalous materials. They were trying to test the chemical and physical properties of the Zen crystal. Gordon's a theoretical physicist, and their goal was to test the Zen crystal, which was an anomalous material, because they're in the anomalous material lab. And I think this is like some crazy like anti-mass spectrometer, or like I don't know, some kind of weird measuring device. God, this game's music is so good. Like how atmospheric the mood and lighting are. It's so good.
Listen, I tried to warn them.
I never thought I'd see a resonance cascade, let alone create one. By Schrodinger's cat, he's alive.
Gordon! Thank God for that hazard suit. All the phones are out. I can't reach anyone in the facility. You need to get to the surface and let someone know that we're stranded down here. There's no telling what kind of danger is. My God. What have you done?
Fascinating. Would you look at that?
We can't afford to waste time. You'll need me for the retinal scanner. I'm certain the rest of the science team will help you along the way. And for God's sake, keep that suit on until you're in the clear. You hear me?
Meat. And that never gets old to me. Just. Well, let's not lose our heads over this. Hee hee XD. Man, this is messed up. All thanks to Wallace Breen. What a champion.
Gordon? Gordon! Man, am I glad to see you. What the hell are these things, man? Why are they wearing science uniforms? Let's get the hell out of here. I think we have guests. One down and hell if I know. You feeling lucky?
Honestly. Fucking stars my ass. Just send in the Barney clones.
Jesus, this place is in bad shape. Oh, ow! This shit is something out of a sci-fi movie.
I might. I could be convinced to. I could be convinced to replay RE3.
Oh, pardon me, Doc.
Don't pardon yourself. Kill it.
You asked for it.
Okay, Doc. Grab what you gotta grab, but don't dawdle.
Oh, this is my locker. Wonder whose kid that is.
My bad, Freeman.
Oh, there's another zombie right there.
Don't let him get near you. Bring it on.
Whose locker is this?
Like that? Huh? Like that?
Yeah, honestly, this guy's got it. He's got what it takes to be in stars. Bitch, fuck you think you're doing? Whoa, arms.
Man, did you see that shot?
See his arms going crazy over there.
That's a nice throat. I think I just got a promotion.
Yeah, and even in Resident Evil 2, you can see that a lot of them were killed by the lickers.
Okay, I'm gonna try to call for help.
Okay, he can't get past there.
Repeat, we have a code red emergency situation. Possible biocontamination.
Yeah, who's the dingus that dropped the security card in Resident Evil 2? And all the hand grenades sitting around their precinct for some reason. These were some well-armed police for a small city in the American Midwest. I'll save you.
Yes! Yes!
He got gotted. How sad. Yo, he's just vibing out here. He must have been listening to some fire mixtapes. Haha, I'm funny. Okay, but where's your gun? Give me your gun. You must have killed this with something. Give me your gun. Also, yeah, like imagine being the cop who's like, yeah, but we need frag grenades, like military grade frag grenades. And they're like, okay. And then the zombie outbreak happens and they've run into the lickers and they're like, oh god, we're being killed by very hard-skinned monsters. If only we had high explosive ordnance in our budget somewhere. If only. Yeah, random drawers and cupboards and safes. I bet Marvin was like, maybe we shouldn't spread them around so much. And they were like, no, shut the fuck up, Marvin. You're just a patrol officer. And Marvin was like, bitch, I'm officer of the month. What you arguing with me for? And they're like, shut up, Marvin. Your name is Marvin. Your opinion is invalid. Absolutely eviscerated. Just skull. Owned. Hello. This is a very brilliantly tense scene to start off with, because you're just stuck with a crowbar and you gotta wander around.
Oh, thank God. Listen, I know where you can find some more weaponry. There's a security office not far from here. Take me with you, and I'll unlock the door.
Let's go. Keep your hands away from that gaping maw! Stupendous.
Oh, safe haven.
If I remember correctly, Half-Life was one of the first games to include location-based damage.
I've had my fill for excitement today. You're welcome to stay if you want.
Yeah, for sure. Did so much stuff well. So I have my theories about why the aliens or the Vortigaunts are like the aliens in general.
Is that you? Is it safe?
Like why the aliens showed up here.
Oh dear. I do believe I soiled myself.
Well, and it's obviously because the resonance cascade bound this world to Zen. But if you notice in the Half-Life lore, the Combine don't show up until the Nihilanth dies. So, spoiler alert, by the way, there's a creature called the Nihilanth. So what's interesting to me is I think that the Nihilanth was basically cleansing Black Mesa as a sort of precaution because he was trying to protect humanity from its own teleport technology by cleansing the facility or anybody who would know about teleport technology. That's my theory. Because when the Nihilith dies, he must have been, like, basically a key between, you know, like, dimensions, like, between this world and all the other worlds. So when he dies, it basically just, like, open the floodgates for shit like the Combine. At least that's my working theory, is just that the Nihilith was actually trying to protect humanity by killing everyone at Black Mesa to reset humanity's knowledge of teleport technology. Because messing around with wormholes ultimately only led to mankind being in great danger. That is also possible. There's still a lot of unexplained lore about the series, like what the Nihilith was, who the advisors are. Yeah. There's a lot of working theories that, like it could just be that the Combine saw that Earth had already opened a wormhole, and after the Nihilith died, they were like, yo, there's some free shit here. It's also possible that the Nihilith was protecting certain dimensions from discovering wormhole technology so they didn't use it against themselves, like how the Black Mesa scientists accidentally used teleport technology against Earth. There's a lot of stuff that could be very easily implied based on the limited lore knowledge that we have from this game. Alright, that was weird. Just got a contusion from that teleporter, I guess. Yeah, Half-Life 3 is basically confirmed because of the ending of Half-Life Alyx. Spoiler alert, by the way, Half-Life 3 confirmed by the ending of Half-Life Alyx. Or at least Valve says they're probably working on it. Who knows? We've been burned by this so many times before. But for the time being, Valve has my interest again. Whoops, I accidentally opened the console.
Power 55%.
Oh man, you're young. How young are you? It came out in like, what, 2004, 2003? You were that young? "15? Wow, you're a youngin'. You're a sprightly one." Ammo Conservation Pro. No bullets spent. Bless.
Power 70%.
Look at all this ammo we're hoarding. Yeah, Half-Life games aren't really those games I tend to play on hard because they tend to just artificially inflate the difficulty rather than doing it in an interesting way, like smarter AI or better enemy placement or anything like that. I find that just normal is always just the best medium to play these kinds of games at. Yeah, it's kind of a big thing with shooters in general, is overblowing the difficulty tends to make them a lot less fun.
Power 85%.
I actually tend to play RPGs on normal a lot because RPGs I find also tend to get some pretty hyperinflated difficulty on harder modes. I feel like I need to turn the gamma up just a tad. Really, that's as high as it goes? We'll probably just leave it then. Good old quick save button, my best friend. Yep. ARPGs, yeah, because then you can kind of buff out the numbers problem with skill. Yeah, don't talk to me unless you've played Dark Souls 2 in the fucking champion mode. That shit is crazy hard. I'm joking around, of course. You can play Dark Souls however you want, but Dark Souls 2 champion mode is hard as shit. It is, I'd say, a very underappreciated game. It gets a lot of hate because it's very different, but I think it's really good. That's not to say it's without flaws. Like, don't expect it to be a hidden masterpiece. It still has issues, just like every Soulsborne game, but it is great. It is legitimately awesome. It probably has the most replayability out of the entire series. Because there's so much build diversity and like different paths you can take in that game. It's so good. Hello.
Who's there?
Really? Gave up at No Man's Wharf? Yeah, it's definitely not a very beginner-friendly Soulsborne game. A lot of them aren't, to be fair. I mean, all three of them aren't, to be fair, but I'd say Dark Souls 2 is pretty hard to get into if you don't understand what you're doing, because you need to know how shit like adaptability works.
Everybody's heading for the surface, but I think they're crazy. If we stay put, someone is bound to come and rescue us. Right?
Right. I have about like 500 hours in each of them. 500 minimum, I should say.
Hey, one of these little buggers latched onto my buddy's head. Gotta get that thing off before. Hey, good news. Thanks. I owe you one. Here, let me get this open. I got some supplies in the back.
I think that Dark Souls 2...
Go take a look-see.
Ugh. That is properly grisly. I hate that. That is terrifying. I think Dark Souls 2 permanently has a very bad reputation attached to it, despite it being a very excellent game, by my opinion. Also, classic Spaz 12. We're not rolling with the Spaz 12 that's in the base version of the game. We're rolling with the cool version.
Okay, I'm ready.
Yeah, Dark Souls 2's got like just a permanent stigma attached to it, but I find it to be very unfair because it is a very, very excellent Souls game in its own right. You know. Where'd you go? Hello? Where'd this guy run off to? What the hell?
You're heading out there? By yourself? May God have mercy on your soul.
You see where the other guy went? What the hell? This is nutty. I honestly have no idea where this guy went.
Power 90%.
Oh well, I guess. It's weird, but fine. I mean, if you don't like it because it's different, I mean, I think that that's, you know, I don't think that's fair, but I guess that's valid. You know, you like what you like, and if you don't like it, then I guess, you know, it's whatever. I honestly have no idea where this guy ran off to. Like, it's crazy. I walk away for like 2 minutes and he's gone. He just skedaddled. Yeah, and that I can understand. Like, Dark Souls 2 did some things that obviously I don't think anybody will try to defend. Like, Soul Memory, for example. Just, there's some indefensively stupid decisions in that game. Shrine of Amana. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I'm not questioning your decision or your judgment. I'm saying I understand. I think you should definitely give it a full chance, because once you understand, like, insane build crafting in that game, you can make some crazy setups, and that's what makes it really fun, is it's probably the most abusable Souls game. Dark Souls 1 and it are kind of like side by side. Oh, hello. God, these things are relentless. Yeah, I've kind of been taking a pretty big hiatus from the Soulsborne series just because I've played it so much. I'm, like, mega burnt out on it. I still love it and have very fun memories, but it's hard to get back into it because I've played so much of it.
I heard screams up ahead. You first. I'll stay back here. Yeah, let's go.
I like that this game starts out being so stingy with your ammo.
Oh, that was good. Watch out for these critters, Doc. Oh shit, not good. Holy shit! That thing tore them to pieces. I don't think we should stick around. Attention. Now.
Fast soda slurp.
Ready to get going, sir?
I just overheard a secure access transmission. Soldiers have arrived.
Hey, hey.
Coming to rescue us.
Of course, I have my doubts that we'll live long enough to greet them.
How you doing, bud?
You know that thing called motion? Let's get a little bit of that going.
Did I actually get that scientist to follow me? Ooh. And I... Oop.
You go on ahead. I'll catch up. You go on ahead. I'll catch up.
Okay, he just doesn't follow you. Okay, well, we're going to take a short break. I need to use the bathroom. So I'm just going to chug down the rest of this beer and then get rid of the can.
Worse than this.
So yeah, short break. Let me just pop that open. There we go, and I'll see you in a moment. And I'm back. That didn't take me very long, so it's nice having so many of you here right now. It's good company, I should say.
Or can it?
Okay, he's alive. That can sometimes kill your security guards. Also, sometimes this guy starts with a Magnum. I don't know what's going on with my game. Am I playing on the right difficulty? Yeah, I'm playing on medium.
Comes more of those things.
One down and... Well, if I know.
So fun fact, the right click of the Glock is actually rapid firing for low accuracy, which, if you make use of it, is so good. Super helpful.
I'll secure this area. What are you still doing down here? Get topside.
Save us, right. Oops.
Power 40%. Power 55%.
Crawling around in vents.
Okay, I'll cover you. All right, let's go.
Twins.
I think we have guests. I just got like that? Huh?
I think I forgot to rescue a pair of scientists earlier. Yeah, I did. There's one that's like, take her, it's not my time. And then she's like, don't worry, he's human. If you're going topside, take me with you. It's just a pair of or like an extra scientist or two you can get to follow you. Because there's an achievement in this game for getting as many followers as possible by the end of Office Complex. Can't believe I missed. I missed twice. I'm terrible. Don't care, lol. I'm not here for you. I think they can be cool. It depends on what kind of vampires we're talking about. We talking about Vlad Dracul and Alucard? Kind of vampires, or are we talking like Twilight vampires? Are we talking somewhere in between? Because, I mean, I love Castlevania. I think that Alucard's an absolute baller. Subversion of the trope, how? Because, I mean, again, Twilight was a subversion of the trope, and, I mean, I'm not accusing you of being a Twilight fanfic-y kind of author, I'm just saying. Ah, see, that's, yeah, I like that. I like, if we're talking, like, Witcher's elder vampires, then yeah. Yes, I knew that Alucard is Dracula backwards. In fact, they say in the Castlevania show that Alucard never liked that, or Alucard's mom never liked that he went by that name so often because she didn't like that it made him seem so antithetical to his father, because she thought they were more alike than they let on. I'm trying to remember what Alucard's real first name is. I really like the show. You know, if you don't like the show, that's your business. I really enjoyed it. I'm trying to remember Alucard's first name.
Power 75%.
Obviously, his last name is Tepesh, but I forget what his first name is. Adrian. It's Adrian Tepesh. But yeah, I do like the elder vampires from The Witcher. Very cool characters. Hello.
Raymond! Good heavens! You gave me quite a scare.
Don't count on the cavalry finding us down here, Doc. We gotta head for the surface. Ready when you are, Doc. Okay, let's go for it. Watch your head, Doc. I think I just got a promotion.
Well, what's interesting is the elder vampires. The elder vampires in The Witcher are simultaneously very human, but also very, like, beastly. Like, very much like animals or, like, primal creatures, depending on their nature. Because Regis is very human, but, like, his foil character in Blood and Wine, Detloff, I had to rack my brain for the name for a moment. Detloff was very animalistic, which is why he couldn't live in a civilized society. Was because at heart he was far too much of just a really base primal creature. See ya, ragdoll meat noises. And that's what I like. A lot of what I like about The Witcher is that it's a very complicated universe. Like a high vampire can either be extremely human or like the most monstrous of them all, depending on the kind of person they are. Remember in that quest where they had the high vampire serial killer who was purging society's sins or whatever? That was nutty. That was a really, really intense quest. I really liked it. Oh, is that still happening?
God's sake, open the silo doors! They're coming for us! It's our only way out! Oh my God, we're doomed!
Attention, all science. Report topside. For immediate questioning.
Well, because I mean, they said Stalker 2 was happening, and also a soft reboot of yeah, they also said Stalker 2 was going to happen, and then also a soft reboot of System Shock, but I ain't seen shit yet. So keep dreaming. Whoops. Whoops. Okay, gotta arc this a bit more. Shit. Getting used to how these grenade trajectories work. Oh, that one was a good one. Should come out in March. Looks good, but I'm worried because it reminds me a bit too much of Dishonored. I mean, Bloodlines had a bit of that DNA. Obviously, Bloodlines focused a lot more on the role-playing aspect of being an RPG rather than like the other aspect, like the more Dishonored aspect. But Dishonored, as at its heart, carries a lot of DNA from that game. So who knows? We'll have to see. What? Is it F10 that loads? No. What's my quick load? Quick load's just F7.
Careful, don't cross the beams.
Never cross the memes. We'll be getting the weapon that obsoletes the Glock pretty soon.
Power level is 100%.
Oh, rescued at last! Thank God you're here.
There it is.
It's probably safer over here. You go on ahead. I'll catch up.
Okay, so he didn't say the line, but he says, "I do believe he was trying to kill me." But I guess he didn't say it this time. But anyways, we saved him, so that's pretty feel good. I'm very happy about that. Got an MP5 with a quad rail. What I find really hilarious about this game's version of the MP5 is it has a reinforced barrel to attach to as a secondary place to attach the grenade launcher. It's I find that really funny because realistically, an MP5 with a grenade launcher attached to it wouldn't be particularly good. So fun fact, these guys, the voice actor for these guys is from, originally did the voice lines for Insurgency. So this guy is pretty experienced at doing chunky Marine voices. In the beta versions of this game, those guys were nightmares to fight. Like, they would eat chunks of your health, and they gave you, like, no cover. So they were a lot more realistic, or authentic, I should say, but at the cost of being extremely difficult. Haha, protocol kill. Whoops. Kilo India Lima, haha, protocol kill. It's funny. So yeah, it's basically just a more accurate version of the Glock. Completely obsoletes it, pretty much. Because it does the same amount of damage as the Glock bullets, because they're both 9mm, but this one just is better. Because it's got more capacity and better accuracy. And I just have to say, I love the MP5. I wish they weren't so damn expensive. Because if there was like one dream gun that I could ever own, it would be an MP5. Okay, so see, that's really funny to me as an American, because it's such a universally, like, owned gun here. It's really not that good. Like, it's great, obviously, because, wow, weird screen flickers, because John Browning is just a god of engineering, or was. And it is a very nice gun, and, you know, like, the aesthetics and everything of it. I just find that really funny, because that's so easy to own here. You get people with, like, 20 of them, like, in closets and stuff. And so it's like, for me, my perspective, like, I understand that obviously for you as a European that's different, but for me as an American, it's like I see so many of them. And you sort of, like, the mythos behind them, the mythology of the legendary 1911 kind of breaks down, and you're like, I'd rather have a Browning high power, or a Beretta, or a Glock. It's alright. It's an alright gun. It is amazing as a historical footnote because of how much John Browning's designs were copied in later firearm and pistol designs. But at this point, the 45 ACP is a bit of an outdated bullet compared to the 9mm, and it's just a bit of an outdated gun in general. I'm not telling you you're stupid, by the way. I'm sorry if that made this tangent seemed like I was calling you out or anything like that for it, because I do love the 1911. I just find it funny to be the concept of somebody's dream gun because of the fact that everybody owns one here. I'm not calling you out, I promise. I just find it funny because that's such a commonly held item here. That's like someone in the desert saying, "Man, I wish I had clean drinking water, and I'm living in a freshwater lake. I'm drowning in a freshwater lake." Like that's what it feels like to me. Is like somebody in the desert's like, "Man, I sure wish I had some drinking water, and I'm just drowning in drinking water." Yeah, I know that obviously European gun laws are usually like out of necessity. The United States really is drowning in 1911s though. Like, if Disaster's still in chat, he could pretty much attest to that like there are so many of them over here. There are a ridiculous amount. Hell, Disaster lives in Virginia, which is a pretty pro-gun state. I'm pretty sure he could tell you pretty, like, with a fair amount of certainty. They're really trying to flush me out. Oof. Yeah, these are the classic Black Mesa Marines that I remember. Yep. Okay. I gotta... Oof, this is gonna be rough. Yeah, it's kind of what happens when you fight guys and... Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is the 1911 for sure is very aesthetically pleasing. It's a very lovely gun. I'm a very big gun enthusiast. Yeah. I'm a very big gun enthusiast, so like mechanically speaking, when you actually like look into the 1911, it's a very, very basic design. It's good, but it's very basic. Also, that guy just straight up lobbed a grenade at me from his M203. But yeah, the 45 ACP is a kind of a dated round because at this point, modern ballistics doctrine tends to suggest that more rounds in a magazine is better for you for putting a target down than, at least from a pistol perspective, more rounds in your pistol magazine are better for you than heavier rounds. And the actual ballistic difference between a 45 ACP and a 9mm is pretty negligible, since they're both just pistol caliber rounds at the end of the day. It's interesting once you start looking into ballistics and actual firearm technology and like what makes a firearm tick. I'm super into this stuff, so... But yeah, it's a very aesthetically pleasing gun. If you like the 1911, you'd also like the Browning High Power, which is essentially just an evolution of the 1911, also made by John Browning, as the name suggests, Browning High Power. I have no grenades. Whoa. Apparently I died. Yeah, it has that old gun aesthetic to it. Old pistol. I tend to like more modern sci-fi kind of aesthetics on my guns. Like, I know that a lot of people have love-hate relationships with Glocks. I love Glocks. I think they're very pretty guns. And I know I'm kind of in a minority opinion on that. I know there's another one of you around here. Got him.
Attention. Black Mesa announcement system now under military command.
17. The 18 is a machine pistol that is military personnel only. Military and special, like, private armies and stuff like that. Not for civilian use. Or police use, I should say. Police don't really use G18. Yeah, it's the G17. So it's Glock 21 is 45 caliber. 17 is standard length, standard 9mm. 19 is compact of this version of the 17. And 18 is military machine pistol version of the 17. But yeah, most police units in the U.S. use the 17 or the 19. Some of them use the 21. But again, 45 caliber 45 ACPs kind of go in the way of the Dodo for the most part. Sorry about that. Yeah, here a semi-decent 1911 is like maybe a full pay. It's like $300 here, which is about a part-time job paycheck. Or I'd say a semi-decent Glock is closer to 500, but still. Or did I say Glock? I meant 1911. Oh, they're shooting mortars at me. That's what I'm saying, is here in the US, the 1911s are super cheap. God, I love that segment. It's so good. Yeah, like, obviously there are some really expensive 1911s, like custom stuff and designer stuff and engraved stuff and stuff with, like, cold hammer forged barrels and oil-treated steel and, you know, like, obviously it runs the gamut of price ranges depending on how much quality you want. But here, a 1911 is basically as common as a bottle of drinking water. Yeah, here in the U.S., the ATF, if any ATF people are watching the stream, by the way, I don't like you, but you do you. But yeah, here, if you own a pistol caliber carbine, which is the newer military term for an SMG, if you own a pistol caliber carbine or short-barreled rifle or anything like that, they have a list of stuff that they tax. You have to pay $200 to throw a stamp on it, and it's really annoying because a lot of gun enthusiasts, those charges rack up very quickly if you're owning multiple combat weapons at once. Come on.
I've killed 12 dumbass scientists, and not one of them's fought back. Sucks.
See ya. Oh, I turned that dude into meat. I meated him. Yeah, so a lot of people here in the US don't like the ATF. With good reason, of course. I don't know. And also we have a whole big constitutionalist argument here about is gun control legal at all? I personally am in the no camp. Or I think that gun control is legal insofar as limiting who could own a gun, but what a legal gun owner could own, I think, is off the table. Because there's a lot of limitations in my state and in a lot of other states about what a legal gun owner could own or what's permissible. And I disagree with that because of an argument you can make about the Constitution, but I'm not going to get into that because that's a whole big thing on Constitution theory, and we don't really have time to get political tonight. Or more that I don't want to spend my time doing that. I'm here to relax.
To kill everyone associated with the project. Judging by your hazard suit, I'd say you were part of what went wrong. Isn't that right? Now look, if anyone can end this catastrophe, it's the science team in the Lambda complex at the opposite end of the base. With the transit system out, I couldn't tell you how to get there. But there's an old decommissioned rail system somewhere through here beyond the silo complex. If you can make it through the rocket test labs, you might be able to worm your way through the old tunnels to track down whatever is left of the Lambda team. You can trust all of us.
So another fun fact, the Spaz 12, despite how... Yeah, people are just give their different interpretation of the Second Amendment. Some people say any firearm will do and we should limit what people should own. I say, and a lot of other people say, that the Second Amendment is worded specifically for combat weapons because that's kind of the whole point of the Second Amendment is to fight against government tyranny or the tyranny of foreign regimes. That's where I'm at with that, but other people are just like, oh, it just applies to guns in general. That doesn't mean you should own assault weapons, for however nebulous a term that is, because we could also get into all night how much of a bullshit term assault weapon is. Are there weapon systems designed as combat units? Yes. Assault weapon is just such a... like, anything can be an assault weapon. But anyways, again, I'm getting very political right now. I said I wouldn't do that. So anyways, what I was saying. Spaz 12. Interesting thing about it is that despite its very common appearance in games, it was not used very much in law enforcement and military. It saw some use in certain like higher end law enforcement units and police divisions and special military units. But it actually wasn't used that much. It's a very memorable gun, like aesthetically, which is why it makes its appearance in so many games. But it's not used a lot, and that's because it's mega expensive, and it's not worth the expenses. And it wasn't always the most reliable compared to other more simple shotguns like a Mossberg or a Remington. And the big thing is... The big selling point of the Spaz and the why Franchi was pushing it so hard is because it is a modular combat shotgun. You know what that means is that there are conversion kits for it or it comes, like when you buy a Spaz 12 out of the box, it comes with a parts kit that converts it to semi-automatic, so you could run it as a pump action or semi-automatic. So sometimes you'll see a Spaz 12 in a game as a semi-automatic, and sometimes you'll see it as a pump action. Both of those are correct. It can be either or, realistically speaking. But from what I remember reading and learning about the Spaz 12 weapon system is that it had, the semi-automatic mode had a lot of issues with felt recoil and user comfort, and also that skeletal stock that it comes with is not great. Like, it's actually super uncomfortable and it digs into your shoulder quite a bit. So most people just opted to keep it pump action with a folded stock because the felt recoil was less in the pump action mode, and the pump was really easy to work. So it was basically a really expensive combat shotgun that nobody really wanted to use the main gimmick of it for. That's why it didn't sell so well, is because it just came off to a lot of enforcement units as super gimmicky. Powder Mage. Do tell. That is something. This is something the Spaz cannot do, though, is fire 2 shells at once. That is just for the purpose of gameplay. Oh, all out of 9mm. Magic with gunpowder. Neat. Just stretching real quick. Ah! Right, blast pit. Yeah, that's a fair suggestion. Whoa, where did you come from? These things are so stupid looking, I love it. Wow, what a miss. That was terrible.
You must fire the rocket engine. Damn thing before it gets any larger.
I see. I see. In your writing universe? Like in your personal universe? Sorry, I'm trying to make sense of this. Ow! That hurt. That's cool. I'm very lazy. I didn't want to clear all those out with the crowbar by hand. Yeah, I got a friend who does that. Oh, he's in your server. I remember. Yeah, my boy, the boy I brought into your server. He likes rules and explanations to all of his stuff. I think there can be a healthy medium, and I think it depends on the kind of writer you are. It really all depends on your writing style and the kind of writer you are. Oh, you see that long jump? My goodness. I'm an athlete. So, fun fact also, in the beta versions of this game, the revolver used to be given out way earlier in the game. Like, I would have had the revolver by now, because in that weapons locker that one security guard opens for you, that's usually where you get the revolver from, but they moved it back a little ways. Oh, you're still alive? Whoop! And out. It's just a really solid shooter. Like, obviously Half-Life 1 has a lot of nostalgic appeal for a lot of people. And I still think it holds up as a really good game. But the general appeal of the series is just to be a really good shooter. And also, you have to understand and take this with a grain of salt. Valve makes and made a lot of their games to be tech demos. Half-Life 1 was a tech demo for all the stuff that they did at the time, like modified versions of they modified a big version of the Quake engine that did like crazy stuff at the time. like location-based damage, like headshots and stuff, and lighting technology. So at the time it was a bit of a tech demo, but it's also just a really good, solid shooter campaign. It holds up. It's not as crazy or groundbreaking as a lot of other shooters, but as far as just doing what it does really well, you gotta give it credit for that. It just holds up very nicely as a campaign. I think it's also the mythos, the legend around this series that kind of gives people an inflated sense of what it is. Like, obviously, you feel like it's overhyped because you never saw the appeal, because you're not nostalgic for it, and B, the technological aspect of it is no longer as insane or marvelous as it was. Yeah, I don't think there's ever really a bad time. There's just less optimal times, and 22 years later is definitely the less optimal time. Because this game isn't a tech, because Black Mesa isn't a tech demo like Half-Life 1 was. This game is just a recreation of that campaign in the Half-Life 2 source engine. So it is what it is. I still really enjoy it, but obviously it only holds up well in the eye of its beholder. If it doesn't hold up well to you, then it doesn't. If it does, it does. I'd say most people agree that it does, but it doesn't have to for everybody. How's my audio, by the way? Because this is a new headset, and I'm trying to make sure there's no bugs, and I'm ironing any issues out that I may have with it. Sweet. Good mic quality, because this is like one of the big things about the Sennheiser PC37X is that it has really good audio quality both in the headphones and the mic. Nice, that's very good. So originally when I got this, I had a really big problem with it didn't interact very well with my my 3.5mm mic jack. So I'm really glad that it's working fine now, because I got an analog to digital adapter, so that way I can plug the headset into my USB port instead of my 3.5mm jacks. Because analog these days on motherboards and tends to have a lot of problems because it's usually not the focus anymore. You have to kind of get like a special analog motherboard if you're using like an editing PC or an audio software PC or something like that.
I hope no one expects me to go start up the generator. The Smithers went down there and never came back.
Yeah, really glad I got that pop filter for my mic now, so now I can breathe out and have no popping issues. Or like mic crackles when you breathe into it, because I know that was a big problem I was having before. I do not have a lot of 9mm to spare, so I don't want to kill barnacles if I can avoid it until I get more 9mm ammo.
This is my hiding spot. I'm not moving until the situation is drastically improved. Now go away, and don't tell anyone I'm here.
Yeah, no mic pops. Yeah, I was told that earlier as well, so thank God. It's really nice. Yeah, just spent like $5–10 on some pop filters. Very worthy purchase. Very happy about it. Also, yeah, Half-Life can have some problems with ladders. So something I love about the MP5, or the MP5A3 and versions after that, the stock. I love that collapsing skeletal stock. And I only hear good things about it from like law enforcement and mid-military, that it's just really solid. Really solid stock because of the fact that it's sort of, if you look, let's see if I can get a good angle, those grooves cut into the gun, it slides in and out of there, and it's a really solid like stock or brace at the end, so it just pads right against your shoulder. It's real solid. I was making hand motions like you could see me. Maybe I should invest in a face cam. It's a solid gun, though. I really want to try it, because I've only ever heard good things, and I'm like, I see so many videos about it, and I'm like, I want it. And I know HK recently released the civilian model of the MP5, the SP5, but it's expensive as hell, because HK can't sell anything for cheap, because it's got reputation attached to it. I was about to call HK the Apple of firearms, but I knew that would be a huge insult to HK because their products actually work. HK makes stuff of very, very reliable quality, very robust. So they're expensive because they have actual reputation backing them up, not just a very popular name brand. Hang on. Let me get through this segment, and then I'll kind of go through that with you. Okay, so no, the stock does not spring out. It kind of like, it clicks out, I guess you could say. I'm trying to think of the best way to put this. Like when you push it in or pull it out, or when you pull it out to full length, there's like a little like a tab that holds it in place. Like a lot of other collapsible devices, you know, if you've had like an umbrella. That's the best way to put it. It's like an umbrella. Once it reaches full length, there's a sort of mechanism that clicks in place that holds it there, and then you push a button on the stock to push it back in and collapse it. At least I think that's how it goes. That's how a lot of stocks go, so I might be misremembering. But there are actually a lot of very few stocks that actually spring out. Most of them are you just fold them out or retract them. They just kind of pop out. Ah, finally, the revolver. Nice little Colt Python. There's also different versions of the MP5 with different stocks. This is an A3 or A3 or later, because I'm pretty sure every later version of the A3 has the collapsible stock. Another good way of putting it is it could be like, have you ever set up like a camp tent? Oof. Oof. Oh dear. Oh, come on. I got stuck on the terrain. That's annoying. You know, you got those little D-tents in the tent with the little button that springs out. So I guess, yeah, kind of a spring system. It's hard to explain in just words because a picture's worth 1,000 words, and unless I can actually show you, it's hard to explain. Yeah, like I said, like a baton or an umbrella. All right, yeah. Oh my god, we're already in power up. I just absolutely blasted through Blast Pit. Excuse me, gentlemen. Excuse me. Sorry, pardon me. Have a good night. Out of ammo again.
Jesus. You don't know how close you were to getting one between your eyes. Listen, mister, if you can get the power on, that train down there will take us to the surface. I would try myself, but it's a long way down to the generator room, and there's things in the way.
This next segment's a pretty long one, and I think it's actually a pretty good time to end for the night. A solid 2-hour stream. It'll be longer next time, but...
Stay out of the big guy's way. Should be
That it's a pretty big segment coming up, and I kind of want to do other stuff right now, so we will save, create a new save, and quit the game. Thank you all for coming. It was actually a really wonderful time having you all here. And I hope to see you soon, like tomorrow-ish or so. See you then.